What is your but wait, it gets worse story? Got my first ever blowjob from my first ever girlfriend in college. We were both drunk and I also did not know what a blowjob would feel like. It didn't feel the best and I was starting to fall asleep, so I told her I had came to end it and we fell asleep. Woke up the next morning and jumped in the shower and experienced what felt like hot lava on my raw skin dick. She had used teeth the whole time and it was rubbing off the skin on the underside of my penis with every bob of her neck. But wait. It gets worse. The next day we go to a football game and she isn't her normal self. Not holding my hand or really talking to me. We get back and she comes up to my app to tell me that she cheated on me with my best friend I had at college. We broke up, leaving me alone with my raw dick that took 2 weeks to heal. Got rear-ended by a truck. Pulled over to check my trunk on a hilly street. A car parked behind me rolled downhill and crushed me between it and my newly messed up trunk. Suffered some cracked ribs. Jesus Christ. You're lucky your whole ghost didn't fall out. My wraparound skirt blew away while I was walking down the sidewalk. But wait. It gets worse. It happened right in front of a funeral home. And yes. There were at least 24 mourners filing into the building. As I chased my skirt down the sidewalk in my panties. When we had to put down our family dog of 12 years and on the drive home. My parents told my brother and I that they were separating. Edit. To all 2,000 people who had to reply to this and say my parents are terrible people. No. They're not. This happened when I was 18 and if they hadn't stayed together because they both wanted the dog. I would have had to go through that when I was still in high school. So I really don't see how I was wronged here. At 14 months old. My son was diagnosed with brain cancer at 4 years old. It recurred at 4. 5 years old. The cancer grew during his stem cell transplant at 4. 5 years old. I was told to take him home and make him comfortable until he died. At 4. 7 years old. A surgeon took his case and found he had a second form of brain cancer. 4 months later. My ex-wife told me she was f***ing her prayer partner because I gave my son cancer. 2014. My mom died in May. Then her Bichon poodle, Katie, died. My father dies 9 weeks 4 days after my mom. Just 4 days before my birthday. 1 week after he passed. My roommate got drunk and drove my car into the front of the house we were renting. On the day of my father's funeral my roommate moved put without notice and steals some of my belongings. Now we're in September and my boyfriend has a grand mal seizure and requires hospitalization. October 2014 my mother's other Bichon poodle has seizures and dies. In late 2016. My live-in girlfriend and I were in a rough patch. I was kind of riding it out until the end of the lease to see if things got any better. Narrator. They did not. In late October. She told me that she was breaking up with me. A week later. I was laid off. She moved out shortly after. A few weeks after that. I saw on social media that she had gotten engaged. Some time after that. Mutual friends assured me that she had been cheating. I found a contract job. Which I hated. While there. I started a side contracting gig. When the primary contract ended. I decided to take my side gig full time. Since I suck at sales. I couldn't manage to get traction. Fortunately. I am now in a job I enjoy very much. Back in the gym losing weight. And dating more. Basically. If my life were an NFL team. The coach would call this a rebuilding year. Got hit with a tropical storm. It became a hurricane. It under sync with my cats but couldn't get my dog in. Cats scratched me and pissed on me. Exited in the morning and the roof was off and the kitchen was flooded. My car had taken a direct hit from a power transformer and was completely f***ed. The road to the house had 10 or 12 downed trees blocking it. Surrounded by jungle, so had to hack my way out with a machete. Make it to work. Work is gone. The entire office building is gone. Just debris. Get chased while dogs on my way to friend's house. Friend comes over with chainsaw to clear road. A f-king tree falls on me. No running water or power for months. I get fired because there literally is no more work as it doesn't exist. Bye bye insurance. Never seen dog since hurricane. He is probably either dead or lost. Takes a year to find a new job. Got out of the Navy. Decided to go to college. Met a girl. Like the girl. It's close to my birthday 2 years later. Cross road to meet my dad. He was passing through town for work and dropped off my present. Get smashed by an SUV while on foot. My head breaks off his mirror. Crush the windshield. Total the car. It gets worse. They shave the side of my head with a scalpel so they can staple my skin flap back to my skull. 2 weeks later. Hobble back into my apartment. CGF glowing guy on my bed. Heartbreak. Anger. Pain. I'm a Sith Lord by now. Should have stayed in the f-kin Navy. Too crippled to re-enlist. Thanks God. My dad was making huge progress dealing with depression and other personal demons. About to start work on a new career and had a new lease of life. As cheesy as it sounds, everything was starting to feel like it was getting better and life was good. Then he died of heart disease in his sleep. A few months after getting the all clear from cancer. That was his second fight with cancer. He died 4 days before his birthday. And 3 days before my mum's birthday. Died with hope in his sleep. I couldn't expect for a better way for myself. I was at a country concert in the middle of June and was dancing with some friends and all of a sudden they disappeared. I was pretty drunk. As I'm leaving to go find them, this girl grabs my hand and we start dancing. One thing led to another and we started making out. Until at one point she pulls away and says, "I don't think my boyfriend would like this." I tell her I'm going to grab a beer to get away and she grabs my hand and says she'll come with me. Here's where it gets worse. I run into a customer from the store I work at and start chatting with him. The girl with me starts chatting with the customer's girlfriend. All of a sudden I hear her tell the customer's girlfriend, "Yeah, it's my birthday in September. I turn 18. Noped out of there so fast. Friend got a puppy recently. Adorable little jerk. He peed on the floor. I accidentally stepped in it. Waddled to the bathroom to clean up and I stepped in dog tea. Me and my fiance registered signee lost our kid due to a miscarriage. But wait, it gets worse. She has a mental breakdown. Which I completely understand and did everything I could to support her. But she splits. So I've lost my child and my fiance registered signee. But wait, it gets worse. I have to go to work the next day. And my car, which had issues, but still ran, ended up completely breaking down on the way to work. But wait, it gets worse. I have no steady transportation. And worked out of town. And so because I was unable to get to work, I lose my job. But wait, it gets worse. With no job and no transportation, I'm in a very bad financial situation and can't afford rent. So I'll lose my place. Last year was a very rough year for me. I lost everything I had in a short period of time. And lost a very close relative to suicide a few months later as well. 2017 was a very rough year for me. Edit. Walked in on my ex having sex with a girl and a guy, but wait. It gets worse. Told her it was time for her to move. 3 days later she shows up to get her stuff and smashes me in the face with a table lamp. Police show up and arrest me, but wait. It gets worse. Sitting in the cell for a few hours, then 2 detectives come and take me to an interrogation room. They have my pistol sitting on the table along with ammo and a few knives. Okay, no big deal, but wait. It gets worse. One of the detectives leaves. Comes back a minute later and slams a sawed-off shotgun onto the table. WTF. Apparently her new beau had hidden it in the furnace room. Took 7 years and cost about $10. 000 in lawyer's fees to get my record cleared, but wait. It gets worse. Bitch gave me HPV. I was in hospital in IQ getting dialysis for an archie when my face got paralyzed. 3 days ago, I injured my back. It is a lumbar sprain. Super painful. Especially when leaning forward. 2 days ago, I decided to get a burger from a newly opened Five Guys. I get food poisoning. And not just mild food poisoning. I am talking about lying down in front of a toilet for days. Fluids exploding out of all orifices. Ever had to throw up with a back injury? Do not recommend. Today, I got my period. Semicolon. Oh hey look, grandpa 1 has cancer. Oh hey look, grandma 2 has cancer. Oh hey look, grandpa 1 died of cancer. Oh hey look, uncle 2 has cancer. Oh hey look, grandma 2 died of cancer. Don't you dare. Uncle 2. Don't you f***ing dare. This is my friend's story. But I really enjoyed it. College. Freshman year. Party in the dorms. They have a ton of booze and you aren't supposed to have booze. The resident advisor, rah, knocks on the door due to a noise complaint and a bunch of students run to hide in the back room. Now this isn't so bad if you have booze. You don't get kicked out. You just have to write an essay on why alcohol is bad and they confiscate it. These kids don't know that. So they jump out the window. 3 stories up. First guy somehow doesn't hurt himself. Breaks away running. Second guy lands okay. Third guy is a freshman girl and she hits her head and blacks out. They finally let the RA into the room. He gets a call on his cell. Yeah, we just saw a body fall past our window. So now he has to get the police involved. They can't find the girl. Because the second guy dragged her body behind a dumpster. At Christmas break, home from college, I had to put my dog down. Right before I head back, my mom informs me she's leaving my dad. Because we are broke and losing our house. And she had spent all of my college life savings making payments on the house without my knowledge permission. Have fun at school. Semicolon. So get pregnant out of wedlock. Also left me. Also he got sick, very sick. Hyperemesis gravidarum. Couldn't eat or drink anything. Spent most of the pregnancy in the hospital. Also couldn't work or take care of myself. So I had to move back in with my dad at the age of 23. So ended up having my daughter stillborn 3 days after my due date. In college I had a few friends over my dorm to hang out. I was really interested in this girl, so I approached her, asked her if she was interested in me. She said gross. Never with you. Then started throwing up in my room. But wait, it gets worse. I head across the hall to borrow a mop. I return. The door's locked and she's banging someone on my bed. My keys were inside the room and I was banging on the door non-stop. I had to wait half an hour until they were done. To my surprise, they had also thrown up on my bag laptop. More of a short and sweet one, but still kind of fits. Helped girlfriend move into new house on campus 2 weeks in a row. First week moved and set up just about everything and drove extra that night to drop off a table for her sister, 3 hours away. She was lacking furniture and I just graduated and didn't need any of my furniture, so I gave it to her. Helped her move all my stuff and next weekend showed up and got broken up with in the morning. Still moved all her stuff in and put furniture together because I am a pushover. She also still has my TV. Yo FCK that dude. I'd take all my shit back. No way I'd let someone FCK with my time that bad. Why did you continue to help her? I stepped on a nail that went clear through my boot and into a bone in my foot. But wait. It gets worse. My doctor was all booked up and could not see me for a few weeks. They prescribed antibiotics over the phone. But the wound got worse. Semicolon. I finally get into the doctor and they say there's nothing they can do. I should go to the hospital. Docs at the hospital say I'm going to need an amputation and immediate IV antibiotics. I lost my big toe and a large portion of my foot. But wait. It gets worse. Turns out that the partial foot is only going to cause me problems in the future. And there's still a chance that the infection is still present in the remaining portion of the foot. I end up getting a second amputation about 4 inches below the knee. Semicolon. Semicolon. Moral of the story. When a doctor tells you they are all booked up, don't accept that shit. Go camp in their office. Who books an appointment for urgent stuff like this? Why didn't you go to the ER? Went into premature labor with my son. Had to have an emergency C-section due to placenta previa. DR nicked the placenta and I started bleeding out. Thankfully we both came through it. Next day, my husband was made redundant from his job. I had no job to return to after having bub. We had just bought a new house a few months before. That we could now no longer afford. Got discharged from the hospital 4 days later. Next morning I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. Went back to the hospital and spent 3 days being poked, prodded, etc. while in agonizing pain to be told that I had influenza. But they couldn't work out what else was wrong. 7 PM on night 3 I had the sudden clarity that I was going to die. So called for DR. Was taken in for emergency surgery and they discovered I had a massive infection. Was a couple of hours away from going into organ failure from sepsis. Spent a week in ICU recovering. A week later a speeding idiot smashed into our only car and it was written off. So that was a shitty fortnight. TL. DR. I thought I was being harassed on the bus. But wait. It gets worse. So a couple years ago I was riding the bus on my way home. I was standing because it was crowded and there weren't any seats. All was well until I felt someone grabbing the hem of my skirt and the back. As if to put their hand under it. I've experienced sexual harassment on public transportation before. So I flipped around ready to tell them off. Well. Imagine my surprise when it was a little old lady in the seat. I looked around. Confused. To see if it could have been someone else. But no. It had to have been her. So naturally, I assumed that I'd imagined it and continued on my merry way. Flash forward to later that day. When I'm home and getting changed out of my work clothes. I'm getting ready to flip my dress over my head when I notice something on my skirt. Something wet and gooey. That's right. She had boogered me. I was supposed to head out on vacation with my aunt and cousin. But it got postponed due to a friend of the family dying unexpectedly. On the way home from the funeral my uncle driving my aunt and cousins dies of a heart attack. Wait, it gets worse. A few days after my uncle's funeral, my aunt, cousin, and I drive up to our cottage on the lake. My aunt says to us on the drive up, I can't take another death, it better be over. 2 days into our vacation my cousin, her daughter, drowned. My dad drove the 10 hours to come pick us up. About halfway through the trip home we get pulled over by a state trooper. They had a lookout for us. The state of Maine insisted I come back and write my witness statement of what happened to my cousin. I was 13 at the time and it was all too much for me. So we drive 5 hours back to Maine. I do what is needed and we head out again. On the way home our transmission blew about 4 hours from home. It was a rough time. I was in a car crash after coming back from the club on New Year's Day. But wait, it gets worse. At the hospital they did a full body scan and found a huge brain tumor on my pituitary gland. Edit. Thanks everyone. This actually happened back in 2009. So I'm doing quite well now. Looking back, it definitely was a blessing in disguise. But it sure didn't seem that way then. Nobody will probably see this, so FCK, here goes. Ex-wife asked for a separation out of nowhere. Find out she is F-king my best friend if 17 years. Gets worse, we divorce. Picking my son up from her house and she tells me she is going on a date. With her first ex-husband's brother. It gets worse, then she calls me to defend herself and tell me it's okay. She asked her daughter, from first marriage, if it's okay. She asked her daughter if it's okay she dates her uncle. Yeah, so it gets worse. While trying to make me understand her choices she tells me that she can't take it, she will never be happy and she thinks about killing herself. I would say it gets worse, but that implies she did kill herself. She didn't. What she did do is continue to date her daughter's uncle and used hurting herself as an attention grabber. It gets worse. She thinks the flu vaccine is bad for children. Last part didn't relate, but she is stupid. Excuse me. I'm new in town. I am gay. I have AIDS. I am new in town. I did a trial at a coffee shop when I was 16. All going well until I serve a customer and give them their change, but realize I shortchanged them after I closed the till. But wait, it get worse. Instead of asking the manager who was stood right by me how to open the till, I reached into my pocket and used my own change to pay the customer. Most embarrassing moment of my life. That's a pretty easy fix. You tell them you realized you shortchanged them but had already closed the till, so thinking quickly you used some of your own to make up for it and you'd get it back when the audit came up to be over X amount of money that was your change. Could actually help you out by showing you can think fast.